lovely day. Seems like a great day to nerd venge. Oh, hell yeah. Welcome back to the Den of Nerds. I am Josh, and we have an incredible show for you today. As always, a ton of crazy things going on out there in the nerdy world. No Scarlet Witch in Doomsday or Secret Wars? What the hell? What about all the rumors? What about what's going on? God damn it. We're going to talk about it. Elizabeth Olsen saying she's not in these movies. Is she the latest werewolf? Is she pulling an Andrew Garfield? We'll talk about it. We'll get into it. Also, there's a scoop out there about the Champions series. Apparently, it actually has a writer, and maybe it is moving right along. That's kind of wild, especially considering the leaked set or the leaked concept art. Kind of seems like that might be true. Also, small report out there about Tatiana Maslany, She-Hulk. Potentially, she's the star of Doomsday. She's also the star of Spider-Man 4, and she's the star of Secret Wars, and she's also the star of the X-Men. We're going to talk about it. Not the best. Not quite the thing we want to hear. And then something that's absolutely fascinating, blowing my mind. There is a person that I would consider to be an insider that has inside information. There is a person out there claiming that tomorrow, Wednesday, tomorrow, Marvel news is dropping that's even bigger than the RDJ Doctor Doom news. What? Oh, what the hell? What could that be? I'm not sure. Seriously, I'm confused, but we'll get into it. We'll talk about who said it. What do we think it means? What could it possibly mean? We'll get into some speculation about it all. Should be a fantastic show. And of course, we will save Q&A for later on in the stream. Now, as far as show notes are concerned, man, a couple of things you got to look out for this week. Tonight, 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, the latest MCU show on Disney+. I'm loving this show, man. I'm loving this show. And tonight, we will be doing another watch party tonight at 8:30 p.m. So I look forward to seeing a lot of you guys there tonight. 2 episodes. I think tonight will be the first time that the show kind of breaks into new territory. Between episode 5 and 6, I think we're going to really get into the new stuff. And then the finale of this season, like the last 2 episodes, are apparently all new stuff. Very action-packed, and apparently they're nuts. So I'm looking forward to that. Tonight's going to be really cool. I'll see you guys tonight at 8:30 for that. And then, thank you, chat. I want to say a real and honest thank you to everybody that voted in the poll yesterday, because tomorrow night at 7:30 for our members only stream, you know what we're doing? You want to know what we're doing? We're playing Warhammer. That's right. I somehow convinced everybody to let me play a Warhammer game on Tabletop Simulator tomorrow. And that's what we're going to be doing for our Nerd Vengers stream. Woo! I know you're excited. I know you're excited. Trev said he's going to be there. He's really looking forward to it. He wants to learn all about it. I'm sure many of you guys want to learn about the game, get your questions answered, and discover what Warhammer army you're going to get into. So tomorrow night, I can't wait, dude. It's going to be epic. It's going to be super cool. So again, congratulations to you. And congratulations to me. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7:30. I better see everybody there. Everybody better be there. Okay, other than that, I don't think there's too much to talk about. There's not a lot of show notes, but I'm certainly really curious about what Wednesday is going to look like with this crazy RDJ, bigger than RDJ news. We'll get into that in a bit here. But yeah, that's what is up. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope the week has been treating you good so far. Okay, let's get right into the news, man. And let's start with the main topic. Everybody was talking about this yesterday. Elizabeth Olsen. She's out there talking, and she's out there causing a big kerfuffle on the internet, particularly for people like us big old nerds. So, Elizabeth Olsen will not return as Scarlet Witch in Doomsday and Secret Wars. It's really important for me to make choices outside of Marvel that reflect my own taste. What? Come again? One more time? What the hell? Now, look, obviously, this is crazy. And the reason this is crazy, it's very similar to the situation that happened with Benedict Cumberbatch, okay? Because if you'll recall, a couple of weeks ago, Benedict Cumberbatch made some comments about how he's not in Avengers Doomsday. And I'm gonna be real, I kind of lost my mind. It wasn't my greatest moment on stream. And part of the reason why I was so shocked is because I could not conceive of a version of Avengers 5 without Doctor Strange. And that's due to a lot of rumors and a lot of things that are out there. I just couldn't believe it. So it was shocking to me, right? This, I think, is equally shocking for a lot of people. This is the actress herself, not just saying she's not in it, but kind of aggressively pushing back against the notion of her being in those movies. And just like with the Benedict Cumberbatch thing, the reason this is crazy is because we're pretty convinced that she's going to be in it. So the question is, and I'll open up this question for the chat. I can already see some of you guys debating this in the chat. Do you believe her? Do you believe Elizabeth Olsen? Is it possible that she's not in these two movies? Oh my goodness. Wouldn't that be crazy? And you can see some people believe her, a lot of people don't. Here's the deal. I highly doubt she's being honest here, okay? And there's so many reasons why. Now, first off, let me just say, is it possible she's not in the films? Sure. Only because there has been a lot going on with these movies, and I think actively right now they're trying to crack the code of this story, and they're trying to figure it out. However, we believe that Elizabeth Olsen is a really important part of these stories. So it's not just that there are reports that maybe she'll be in it, right? So there's some reports about She-Hulk right now that she might have I forget how they phrase it, like a somewhat sizable role or whatever in Doomsday. That's like a one-off thing. That's not the same thing as multiple insiders saying for months that Elizabeth Olsen is a major part of the story of these two movies, okay? So it's just a different kind of thing. She's supposed to be a huge part of these stories. Is it technically possible that they have abandoned that and they found that maybe they could get to those beats other ways? Sure. Do I believe that? No, I do not believe that. I continue to believe that a lot of the sense-making apparatus from the leakers and insiders that we currently have is still correct. And a lot of those people, including Alex Perez, came forward to say that she's lying and that this is not true and that she will be in the movie. Okay. Now, I do think it's worth mentioning here that just like Andrew Garfield, just like a lot of these other people, because it's interesting, Tatiana Maslany actually had a very strong rebuttal or a pushback against the rumors of her being She-Hulk. She was on one of the late night shows, and I remember she said, I'm not doing anything with Marvel, and these kind of stories are actually really damaging. These leaks and rumors, when they come out and they're not real, it's actually really damaging. So I implore people to not believe it. I'm not in it. And actually, her rebuttal was so strong that at the time, even myself, I was like, oh, damn, maybe she's not She-Hulk, you know? But she was, and she was signed. So why does this happen? Why do they do this? Well, it's because of an NDA. So they have a non-disclosure agreement when they sign these big contracts. The one thing they can't say is the truth. They can say all sorts of other things, all kinds of stuff. The one thing they can't say is the truth. They are bound. They cannot say it. Now, look, it's not as though the moment they say something, like the police show up, but they could. And it's kind of up to Feige as far as how does he handle this with the different stars. This is a big part of the PR machine over there. So very likely you'll get a call from PR or the head of PR or HR, and they'll ask you to walk something back or make a clarifying statement or delete a post or whatever. We've seen this happen a lot with Marvel. But for a lot of these seasoned vets, that have been in this system for a long time, they're very comfortable just straight up lying. You know what I mean? And even Tatiana was very comfortable just straight up lying because of that situation. So it's pretty wild. So let's go through what she actually said. She says, number one, she's not in the Avengers movies. Number two, she said she's filming something else, giving us an explanation for why she's in London. And then she says she wants to do more indie stuff. Okay, so that's like the story. That's kind of like why it would all happen. But here's what I want to show you here, guys. So this is her just a few months ago. And this is when she's asked about whether or not the Scarlet Witch is dead. Maybe before she signed her NDA.
Is Wanda really dead? What is the future of Wanda?
She could never go away, I don't think, especially with the multiverse. I think she's aware of what she's done. But no, I don't think she's gone. I think there's more to be had with her.
Is Wanda really dead? What is the future of Wanda?
She could never go away, I don't think, especially with the multiverse. I think she's aware of what she's done. But no, I don't think she's gone. I think there's more to be had with her.
Do you guys remember after Spider-Man No Way Home, Tom Holland making comments about if he was 30 years old still playing Spider-Man, he feels like his career has failed or something like that? I bring that up because Elizabeth Olsen was also, I don't want to say she was being negative towards Marvel, but she was being very hush-hush and sort of standoffish in a lot of her interviews over the past couple of years of surrounding her character. This interview here marked a change in that. This was maybe for one of the first times in years that she had begun to like open up and be positive about the character and mention the fact that the character has more to do. So you'll see with these actors, sometimes they use very guarded language because maybe there's a negotiation going on or something to that effect. It could be the case that this is just for secrecy and we're trying to kind of keep people off the track or the trail or whatever. But look, I mean, it's totally, I guess here's the final thoughts on this, right? It's totally possible she's not in the movies. That would be massive. That would be a big change, big shakeup. From everything we understand, Wanda has a huge role here. And not just Wanda, but her family and her children and the story they're setting up there. That feels very important to Wanda too. And it feels like a thread that's going to connect some of the other stories we're about to talk about with Champions and some of those stories to potentially the beats of the Avengers films, right? Recently, we've seen some interviews where the Russos have talked about how Marvel was kind of unfocused and they needed to bring back focused storytelling to the MCU. And they have these baseball cards that talk about the contracts and the appearances for all the characters, et cetera, et cetera. And when I heard that, like what I got out of that was, oh, they're actually looking to look at Phase 4 and 5 and the big goobly glob mess and picking up select characters and perhaps groups of characters and figuring out a way to bring all of these stories back together. And I feel strongly that the Champions, Wonder Man, like if that has anything to do with it, that thread which goes through WandaVision into Agatha and, you know, Multiverse of Madness and all that, I really feel like that's an important piece of this focused storytelling that the Russos have talked about. So I think, given all the evidence here, guys, between all the leaks and rumors we've had over the past couple of months, between the fact that just a couple of months ago, Elizabeth Olsen was speaking like this, just due to the fact that I just strongly feel like it would be a super big change for them to cut all of that out. Yeah, I believe that she's lying right now. And that yesterday, when she made these comments, she knew she was lying and is probably kicking back and kind of watching how this is all playing out. So for me, I think she was lying. I think she is in these movies. She's going to play a massive role. And in fact, there is a romantic thing between her and Doctor Doom, which I know is crazy. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, wait, what? But yeah, that's real, man. Romantic thing, her and Doctor Doom. Yeah. So thus concludes the first story. Of course, I'm still really interested to know what you all think about that, because I'm sure some of you actually think she won't be in it and that she did get cut. So that is kind of fascinating. Make sure you let me know what you think about that. Let's move into the next topic here. Check this out. Okay, so speaking of champions, right? And the story with Wanda and her kids, this is an exclusive over on Nexus Point News. Rachna Froshbum, I'm terrible with pronunciation, so I'm not even going to attempt that again. But this lady over here is set to write Marvel Television's Champions. Okay, so let's get into this. Nexus Point News can exclusively report that this lady, who I can't pronounce, is set to do Champions TV show in early development at Marvel Studios. She will presumably showrun and executively produce the series as well. This is following the report by ex-user Apocalypse Horseman that the series centered on Marvel's younger heroes is being developed under the title Champions. By the way, Apocalypse Horseman, pretty good, pretty reliable. A project centered on the Young Avengers or Champions has been highly speculated since the introduction of characters like Cassie Lang, Kamala Khan. Yeah, we know they've been setting all of those up. Given the current characters in the MCU, the series will likely be pulling from members of both teams. Now, what's interesting about that is it ties into the leaked concept art that we have had. Okay, so I want to explain why this is kind of a big deal, how it connects to the story we just talked about, and how it's going to connect to the story we're going to talk about with She-Hulk, okay? So, in the middle of all this craziness with Marvel, Phase 4, Phase 5, 6, what the hell is going on, right? We heard about this Champions thing. This was Apocalypse Horseman, and he was reporting that Kevin had taken the idea of Young Avengers and changed it into Champions. Part of the reason why is because like these people aren't getting any younger, and Marvel's just taking a long time to make this, so they're not really Young Avengers anymore. Okay, so we begin to hear that that's actually a thing. Now, in the middle of that, Daniel sort of said they were going to put the pause button on that. It wasn't going to happen, which was weird, and we were like, okay, that's kind of strange. But then the concept art leaked. Now, the concept art leak actually did correspond to a couple of things that people were saying about the Champions series. Mostly that Wong was going to be involved. There was this Strange Academy thing, which maybe was the same project or maybe an offshoot of that project, right? So the fact that you see Wong, Star-Lord, and that exact cast of characters that seems to represent the Champions, including a Tommy Maximoff, who has not been cast yet as far as we know, but they have an actor in mind, and that's what was in that concept art leak. It just gets really interesting because the more and more you think about it, the more that concept art was absolutely real. And I know the Russo brothers said that that's not real, nothing spoils it, those weren't their movies. Technically, that can be true because the concept art was for Fantastic Four. Potentially, it was for this Champions project, and potentially it's for a Battleworld project. So even the stuff with God Emperor Doom and somebody being brought before him, that could be in a Battleworld project. Spider-Man 4, World War Hulk, maybe something else. Who knows, right? But it does actually look like some of that stuff is real. And if they actually hired this writer and this writer's going to show run, then they might be wheels up on this thing really quickly. And I'm starting to think that Battleworld might be a seriously big deal. And I gotta say, man, if they're going to do a Champion series and it's on Battleworld and it has like Star-Lord and Wong and potentially Dupe, like I don't know what the fuck Dupe's doing there, to be honest with you. But that's actually cool. And I think the Battleworld draw could help solve some of the problems that Marvel's currently going through, because otherwise I'm not really interested in a Young Avengers or Champions thing at all. But the fact that it might be about Wanda's kids and it might be attached to Wanda, who might actually be the bride of Doctor Doom, and like that whole thing is wild. You have a lot more built-in interest, and I think it would be a lot more of a connected story, and therefore people would get a lot more into it. So I don't know. I'm speculating here. We're not for sure, but it's so wild that like this concept stuff comes out. People are like, oh, I don't know. Well, all of a sudden it's starting to seem like totally true, like absolutely real, and that brings us into some She-Hulk stuff, right? So this is pretty wild here too. Check this out. So I saw this pop up, and there's an article here that says she's rumored to have a fairly significant role in the Avengers movie. Okay, so where does that come from? Well, it all comes from the fact that Tatiana Maslany was supposed to be at a Comic-Con in Liverpool, but due to a scheduling conflict, she had to pull out of that Comic-Con. Okay? Now, people are saying that this is because she will be filming for Doomsday. And comicbook.com was told from a source that her role is fairly significant. I don't know what fairly significant means, right? I don't know. Who knows? But again, think about the concept art. If we start to think through that leaked concept art, if the World War Hulk thing is real, okay, and that's going to be Bruce and Scar and She-Hulk, okay, and that's like the maybe some of the main characters of that. Well, wouldn't it make sense to set that up with something with She-Hulk in Avengers Doomsday to carry the thread through into Battleworld or something like that, right? Well, I don't know. I mean, that starts to make a lot of sense. And as far as the whole She-Hulk thing, because I know a lot of us like don't like She-Hulk. I thought that show was terrible. But Tatiana Maslany is cool. Like, it's unfortunate that her show was written and created the way that it was, because I think it put the fandom at odds with her, right? And I think a lot of fans, especially male fans, more traditional comic book fans, really don't like She-Hulk, really don't like that show, and therefore could do without her being in the Avengers stuff. But this is sort of part of the Russo brothers' job, right? Their job is to come in and find an interesting way to take a lot of these characters, bring them together, and tell a story. And ultimately, in the Infinity Saga, the way the Russos did that was, frankly, way better than the way that a lot of other people did it. Like, I've brought up this point before, but T'Challa is literally better in Civil War than he is in Black Panther. He is literally better in Endgame. T'Challa was handled best by the Russo brothers and Marcus McFeely. Okay? Spider-Man, potentially better in Civil War than even in the Spider-Man movies. That's not cap. That's actually what it was. And think about the Avengers movies. Tom Holland, absolutely incredible in those movies. So to me, I think the Russo brothers are so talented and so good at doing this exact thing that we could potentially be getting some of the best She-Hulk stuff we have ever gotten in the Russo brothers stuff, which could set the future of that character up much better than that shitty ass show did that was memed to death and got canceled. So I think that, sure, I have a tendency to look at these things and sort of filter them through this like hyper positive, like, oh, copium sort of, angle or whatever. But I do think this is part of what is going on. And, another part of why I even wanted to bring this up is because, to me, this is just proving that this rumor mill, the concept art and all this stuff, like, we've been on it, man. And the community has been on it. And we know a lot about it. So much that actors and actresses can come out and straight up lie to us. And we just know what it is. That's pretty wild. So there you go. Some updates, guys, about Scarlet Witch. Some updates about She-Hulk. Some updates about Champions. Wild stuff going on over at Marvel Studios. Speaking of wild shit, we have to talk about news that's coming out tomorrow. It's rumored to be coming out tomorrow, okay? And it's news that is apparently bigger than the RDJ Doctor Doom thing. Okay, let's get into this. Where does this come from? Somebody tagged me on Twitter yesterday, Chris Gore. I'm sure many of you guys know who Chris Gore is. If you don't know who Chris Gore is, he's kind of like an old school television Hollywood guy. He was involved in G4 early on, had a big career doing that kind of like alternative media for many, many years. He's very plugged in, knows a lot of people in Hollywood. He absolutely knows things. In fact, Chris probably knows more about certain movies than even I do at this point, because he's got people that literally work on them that he talks to. So yesterday, Chris Gore doing a show, and he told everybody live on air that he was told by a really good source that tomorrow, Wednesday, Marvel news is dropping, which is potentially bigger than even the RDJ Doctor Doom casting. Now, That's all he was told. He doesn't know what the news is. He didn't really like speculate about it. He just said, this is what I was told. It's coming on Wednesday. It might be bigger than the RDJ Doctor Doom thing. Okay. So, wow. What could that be? I mean, bigger than RDJ Doctor Doom. That's crazy. And I also wonder why. Like, the RDJ Doctor Doom thing was held to Comic-Con. By the way, Chris says he knew about that months before it happened. That's crazy because he didn't say shit. The only person that reported about that before it happened was Jeff Snyder. So, it's my first question is, like, why? Why would news that big drop tomorrow? Is there anything going on tomorrow that I don't know about? Or is it possibly the fact that the Marvel movies right now are potentially not tracking as well as Marvel wants, and they might view the brand in a little bit of a slump? You know, because even Daredevil Born Again, even though I'm loving it, it's underperforming. Like, make no mistake, Daredevil Born Again is majorly underperforming, right? And Captain America Brave New World was, like, terrible, right? So maybe it's a big Hollywood trick, because, like, guys, we've been doing this a while, right? So I would expect it to be in the Hollywood trades tomorrow. That's going to be my guess, is this is one of those, oh, the Hollywood trades got this leaked thing. Nah, like, it was super coordinated, and they're going to talk about it tomorrow. So I would expect Hollywood trade article dropping tomorrow morning. In fact, 9:13 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to just say that. And, yeah, so I think it's going to drop tomorrow morning. It'll be through the Hollywood trade. So it'll be presented as something non-official, but it'll be official. And I think it like, if Chris is right, what could that be? Does anybody have any thoughts in the chat? Do you have any ideas? Any thoughts on what it could be? Because I have some thoughts, but I'd love to know what you guys think. I think there's only a couple of things that could be bigger than RDJ Doctor Doom, okay? One could be the confirmation of Battleworld. And what I mean is, when did that leak come out? 2 weeks ago at this point? 2 weeks ago, biggest leak in Marvel history. I say it is. Everybody, I've had a lot of people that disagree with me on that, by the way. They're like, what are you talking about? It's not. No, it is. I said it is. So I wonder if Marvel sat back. Let's just speculate on this, okay? We're deep in speculative territory. I want to be very clear. Do you guys we're in speculative territory, right? Everybody knows this? Okay. So what if Marvel sat back and realized, as many of us did, that concept art was titties? Everybody loved it. And at a time when positive buzz from Marvel is somewhat hard to come by, you accidentally created a shit ton of artificial buzz. Like, people were very excited about that. Right? So I could almost see them putting out a trade article that confirms not only is that real, but maybe this is going to be a whole saga of Marvel that's Battleworld related. Okay? And part of why I think that could be the announcement is I believe this will be something they officially announce at Comic-Con this year. I've just felt personally, what's the big mic drop Comic-Con thing? Could be the OG Avengers coming back, all of them. Could be the Battleworld projects, you know. So I'm kind of thinking that could be what it is. Something else it could be that people pointed out would be a third Secret Wars movie. Okay? So if Marvel came out today and was like, you know, we've been cooking Secret Wars behind the scenes. It's a way bigger story. The Russos are currently cracking the story. We need 3 movies. Oh my God. That would definitely be, that would be up there. You know what I mean? So I could see it potentially being that. It could be casting. I know a lot of people have thought, well, maybe it's like official evil Captain America or official evil Hulk or something like that, right? So, yeah, It could be that. I don't know if any of those casting announcements are on the level of RDJ though. So I don't think that's like, that doesn't work for me for that, but sure, that could be what it is. Another thing that it could be would be X-Men. Now, this gets kind of wild because we know they're cooking X-Men stuff right now. A lot of casting rumors, dude. A lot of casting rumors over the past couple of weeks. And there was a video that just came out. A lot of people sent it to me where it was a influencer at Disney checking out some stuff. And then there's a moment where Kevin Feige discusses that he's about to go into an X-Men meeting. Not necessarily revolutionary because we know that's something that's going on right now, but cool to see. So I wonder, could it be X-Men related? And what could be X-Men casting that could be on the level of RDJ? I got to be honest, and I know some people won't like this, but if it's Denzel Magneto, I think that's potentially on that level. I think Denzel Magneto, I think that's big. I think that's big. And it would cause, maybe not big for all the same reasons. Like, it would cause a lot of people to be upset. There'd be a lot of, pushback or whatever, blowback to that. But there'd be a lot of people like myself that would, I think that's good. I like Denzel as Magneto. And it's obviously a change from comics, but like, I'm telling you, I'm down. I know it would be crazy. It would cause conflict, but I'd be down. So I could see that being massive. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, what else is there? Like, what else could there be? Tom Cruise, Iron Man, right? I've heard that. I mean, that could be wild. Tom Cruise, Iron Man. If it was Tom Cruise, Iron Man, I would lose my mind, and that would definitely set up some really interesting possibilities for Marvel. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm very interested. I'm going to be watching very closely to see what happens tomorrow, if anything. And oh man, I'm going to be so mad, Chris. If you got me all excited for nothing, brother, I'm going to be so mad. I really hope it's something. So if I had to pick, if I was a betting man, I think it's X-Men. I think it's potentially Denzel. Yeah. I think it's X-Men. I think it's potentially Denzel. What else is bigger? Like, what else could even be bigger, man? I can't even think of anything that would be bigger. I mean, maybe George Lucas is coming to direct a Marvel movie or something. Wouldn't that be nuts? Yeah. Yeah, so crazy possibilities out there. We're not really sure what it'll all look like. Okay, one last story, and then we're going to get into Q&A. I know there's a lot of questions, a lot of conversation. I see it in the chat. We'll get into it in just a second, okay? One more story here, okay? Now, this is a little bit different than some of the stuff we usually talk about. However, I thought it would be really interesting to bring up to you guys because I literally just talked about this yesterday. If you were on stream yesterday, I brought up this point where I was like, dude, are people just over movies? And I even made the point that a lot of young people are watching more content. They're watching YouTube, Twitch. They're watching stuff like that. And they're not watching as much movies or shows. So all of a sudden this popped up, and this is a fascinating article. I thought we could go over this together. It says, in warning sign for Hollywood, younger consumers are choosing creator content over premium TV and movies. What? A new Deloitte study, I don't know what the hell that word is, shows that Gen Zers are choosing social and creator-driven content over big-budget entertainment as consumers overall feel a price pinch over streaming. Hollywood, let me move this so you guys can read along with me a little bit better here. Okay. Hollywood will have to navigate a world in which consumers are increasingly choosing to spend more of their time with creator-driven entertainment and social platforms rather than premium content. That is a key takeaway from Deloitte's 19th annual Digital Media Trends Survey, which asks consumers about their media and entertainment preferences. The survey finds that 56% of Gen Zers and 43% of millennials surveyed find social media content more relevant than traditional TV shows and movies. And roughly half feel a stronger personal connection to social media creators than to TV personalities or actors. Bro, this is like exactly what I was talking about yesterday. I think about the war for people's attention and time that exists today between traditional media and social media, says China Widener, vice chairman of that company, LLP, and the U.S. technology media telecom leader, in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. With Gen Z, they spend about 54% more time. Think of it as about 50 minutes a day, on average, more on their social media platforms than they spend about 43 minutes a day less in traditional TV and media. So when you just think about it in the context of where they're spending their time, are they using both service types? Yes, but they are spending more time in the social media platforms than they are on the traditional platforms. That's a fascinating trend. If the entertainment industry is in a battle for time and attention from consumers, many of the largest entertainment studios and streamers are finding themselves having to compete with giant tech platforms stacked with creators catering to every niche possible. This is a part of the formula of success as well. The survey found that younger consumers simply trust creators more and feel a more personal connection to them, which in turn bolsters advertising engagement. And tech platforms laden with AI recommendation tech and that's algorithms. That's not actually AI the way we talk about it today. This has been around forever. Further spinning up the consumption flywheel, adding another challenge that traditional entertainment companies may have had a hard time matching. It is the creator-driven engagement that is the draw. And utterly, what we found and talk a bit about in the report is this notion that they feel a stronger connection. 52% of Gen Z, 45% of millennials in the survey said they just feel a stronger connection to social media creators. Widener says adding to those, consumers can more closely identify with creators. What the younger audience is telling us, the Gen Zers and the millennials are telling us, is that the ads and product review they get on social media, they're more influential on their purchasing decisions. They simply believe them more. Creators are also pouring a flood of content onto social media platforms every day, which in turn leverage AI-powered algorithms to steer content to consumers. This, again, that is AI that's been around forever. The Google algorithm of machine learning is basically artificial intelligence to a degree, and it has been around forever. Streaming platforms have recommendation engines, and of course, but the much smaller selection of content, retaining those users could end up being a challenge. As AI becomes more and more prevalent in all phases of our work and play, the fact that social media platforms are leveraging it in a way that allows them to personalize and experience differently, I think that's actually important. And it's going to be a challenge for traditional and streaming media to replicate that, Widener says. And I think that's a nuance in this that is worth mentioning more broadly. Now, what's fascinating about that, and I've brought this up before, but Netflix is actually a technology company, not an entertainment company. And a lot of people don't realize that their recommendation algorithm and the way that they know their consumer base is basically on the level of YouTube. Like, that's the only other equivalent platform that knows its personalized user so well that it can serve up the perfect content to get that person to either keep scrolling or eventually click and stay on the platform to watch content. So it's quite fascinating. And I do find this conversation weird here. Seems to be this like labeling or couching of recommendation algorithms as AI. Technically, that is true, but it's AI that's been around forever. It's not the same thing as large language models or generative imaging AI or anything like that. Those are new technologies. Value-driven options like free ad-supported streaming service like Fast are rising particularly strong among younger consumers. There's a level of frustration, Widener says. Prices are rising, this questioning of the value, and this turning to the free ad-supported services. If that frustration isn't mitigated in some way relevant to increased costs, then the reality is there's going to continue to be this challenge, and it's going to force a different business model conversation in the future. If ultimately the services and the companies that own them can't figure out how to thread this particular needle as it relates to these rising pricing pressures. Okay, fascinating, man. Fascinating. So, two main takeaways. Both Gen Z and millennials are going away from traditional media, meaning they're spending less time on traditional media, and their new media consumption is increasing via social media, podcasts, Twitch, all that, right? Whoa. Oh, no. I just broke my chair. Fascinating conversation here. And, you know, it just kind of ties into what I was talking about yesterday. So where does this go from here, right? What does this look like in the future? I personally think this is why Disney is so interested in video games in their big expansive EA, Fortnite, whatever that thing is, but also via the parks and some of the things that they're setting up. I think the future of these brands, I'm talking Marvel and Star Wars, the future of these brands is user-generated content. That's what I think. And I think this actually solves a lot of problems. And you're seeing it happen right now. You know, it's fascinating. I brought this up on Twitter, and a whole bunch of people had opinions about it. Some people were pretty fired up, etc. And somebody brought up the Warhammer Cinematic Universe. Okay. And they were like, but aren't you excited about the Warhammer Cinematic Universe? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm totally excited about it. But here's the thing. I've been entertained for years, hundreds of hours by YouTubers when it comes to Warhammer. Like watching Luton, watching Major Kill, even watch my buddy Valrak, like watching these guys deep diving, learning about lore in these really well-produced little documentary videos that people make on YouTube. I have been doing that for years. So am I excited for the Warhammer Cinematic Universe? Absolutely. In part because I think it could just raise the profile of Warhammer overall. But I don't have to wait for Hollywood to engage with Warhammer right now. And I've been doing it consistently, and it has very little to do with Hollywood. It has very little to do with Games Workshop. It is independent creators. Okay? I made this point during WandaVision, you know, because like a lot of people, like WandaVision really popped off. Like WandaVision did really well as a show. I kept making the point that I think channels like New Rockstars, channels like Heavy Spoilers, and even channels like ourselves, we actually created the majority of the fan fun that was experienced during the era of WandaVision. I want you to really think about what that means. Like, really consider what that means. I'm dead ass telling you that the majority, not even half, like the majority of the fun, of the value, of the entertainment that Marvel fans received during WandaVision was created by independent YouTube channels that had nothing to do with Marvel. When you really begin to understand that, I think you will start to see how this is going and where it potentially goes to. So it's already like interlaced in a way that like can't really be pulled apart. I think if you're a content creator, you should get really excited because what this means is your advertising money is about to go crazy in the next couple of years, because I think everybody's going to realize exactly what this data center realized. And basically every dollar spent advertising through these mainstream mechanisms and through big time celebrities, it would be better spent on YouTubers, podcasters, independent creators. That is 100% what it is. We are the future, and we deserve the lion's share of the advertising dollars. Let me tell you one other part of this that's really interesting, that's going to actually cause a massive shift in the industry. That has a little bit to do with this as well. So we don't get political over here, but policy does affect this business. So one of the things that they are potentially about to do in government is either highly reduce or completely eliminate pharmaceutical advertising on television. Do you know the percent of every dollar that is spent advertising on mainstream television? Do you know what percent of every dollar is from pharmaceutical companies? It's 75%. So think in terms of business. If 75% of the advertising revenue that's going through mainstream, which isn't even really effective, is about to disappear, then a lot of mainstream institutional like news and media, they're going to collapse. They will not be able to sustain. Where's all that 25% of the remaining budget? Where does that go then? Think about it. Things are about to change. Things are cooking. And I think in the next couple of years, you're gonna see some fascinating developments. Fascinating developments. So, food for thought. Kind of a fun thing to speculate about, and we'll see how it all actually shakes out in the future. All right. So, let's get into Q&A, man. It's that time of the show. If you're listening on the podcast, man, we have had quite a fun show. A lot of fun topics, straight news. But now I'm about to open myself up to the craziness that is a live YouTube chat. I don't know what it is. I don't know about what about a YouTube chat makes you act absolutely crazy, ridiculous, and wild, but it's about to happen. Let's see what the people are saying. And a warning to the chat. This is when I might get triggered and crash out. Okay, here we go. Jay Moore says, do you think Daredevil knows when to stop wiping? Oh, first question in today, huh? First one, starting off with a bang here. Yeah, I think he knows. Javier Mendez, thank you for the 10 spot, brother. Just a cheers, and I really appreciate it. It's so much better than Jay Morris's comment, you know what I mean? Joshua Campbell says, we all know Elizabeth Olsen lying. I think she's lying too, brother. I think she's lying too. Wanda, I'm not the werewolf. Wink, wink. I know, right? By the way, I hope your birthday was awesome. Nerd Ventures for Life, Jesus. It's not my birthday. My birthday's in December. Come on. Champions of Mid. Yeah, maybe, but let me just ask you this, Josh. Would you prefer Champions of Mid in just the regular ass MCU, right? Or would you prefer Champions of Mid with Star-Lord, Wong, and Dupe on Battleworld? Come on. Come on, man. That ain't no kind of choice. Zach, thank you for the 10 spot, brother. Always so supportive. Says, let's fucking go. Congrats to Jareth on getting into the Kentucky Derby. Hell yeah. Guys, we have a nerd venture that's a jockey. He's an incredible human being. He is in the Kentucky Derby. So we're pulling for Jareth. I'm going to put some money on Jareth. Let's go. I am so hyped about Spider Island potentially being in Spider-Man 4. Much love, everybody. Josh is the GOAT. Nerd Vengers for life. Doom Vengers for life. Appreciate you, brother. I think Spider Island on Spider-Man 4 could be great. It seems wild, but it's a wild that also seems to fit with a lot of stuff we've talked about, right? So, yeah, man. Spider Island, let's go. Zach, thank you for the gifted membership, brother. Really appreciate it. Benjamin says, wake make Warhammer Wednesday a permanent thing. Nerd Vengers for life. Take my money. Much love. Hey, can you believe it, guys? The community is embracing Warhammer so much that they want to now turn Wednesdays into Warhammer Wednesdays. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Of course, we can't do that. Not just yet. Not just yet, Eddie. We haven't converted enough people. Tonight, though, or no, tomorrow night, 7:30, Warhammer, baby. I'll show you how to play. I'll show you how to play. It's going to be cool. Ibze says, every time you yap on Warhammer, I either fall asleep or I just end up fast-forwarding the vid to a more interesting part. Hell, even mid-ass Star Wars is more interesting to me. LOL. But I love you, Josh. You see what I mean? You got two. Inside you, there are two wolves. Inside this community, there are two different kinds of folks. People like Benjamin that are kind of turning around, and then people like Ibze that are like, hell nah. So we got, you know what that means? It means we have more work to do. Joshua says, just because she's shooting other films doesn't mean they can't edit her in later. I think they did that for some of Doctor Strange footage in Endgame. Yeah, I think you could be right there. And yeah, of course, man. Look, I think she's fibbing. You know? I think she's fibbing like the Fibonacci sequence. John Solo with the $20 holla. That ain't cheap. Thanks, brother. I absolutely love the build-up in Daredevil. I'm pumped for tonight's episode. Season 2 is going to be super interesting, especially with having the new directing crew. Yeah, nah, man, I'm loving the show. I wish the show was getting a little more love. Like, it's kind of a bummer that it's not performing really well. I mean, it's performing better than Penguin, but, like, our expectations were, at least mine were, high. But I am at the very least glad that it's a great show. We're mostly enjoying it. The watch parties have been dope. I'm excited for the watch party tonight, dude. 2 episodes tonight, man. Woo! Dude, that's a great question. How brutal tonight? I think it's gonna get brutal. I think it's gonna get brutal tonight. And $20, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Aaliyah says, I'm guessing that Elizabeth doesn't know about her Wanda stands or doesn't care. LOL. The sad face I saw yesterday. If this is for money, hope she gets a lot. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just that she has to lie. She signed an NDA. Now, she could be more chill about it or whatever, and I don't know. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch, he threw us for a loop, but he did come clean. So, I don't know. I don't know what the logic is there. Is this the Russo brothers? Is this the Russos being like, why don't you just lie? We lie all the time. And we're like, yeah, we know, guys. I don't know. We'll see. Appreciate you, though, Aaliyah. Joshua says, the Russos could make She-Hulk awesome. Dude, exactly. Exactly. Maybe they're finally going to announce World War Hulk. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Can you imagine World War Hulk, baby? Iron Mando Collecting says, I met Elizabeth Olsen at a con in 2023. She was really sweet, and as a big fan of her, I hope there'd be way more with her character in these movies. Totally agree with that. And also, I'm super jealous. I love Elizabeth Olsen, man. I think she's stunning, charming, all the things. Nighthawk says, so who or what is starting the incursions? Well, probably, I mean, it depends on how they're going to explain it, but in the comics, it was Doctor Doom. And it was time travel and the Molecule Man and shit like that. So, I don't know. We've had a couple of explanations, right? So if you think about it, in Multiverse of Madness, it's implied that it's Stephen Strange. Meaning, even Reed says the greatest danger the multiverse faces is you, Stephen. And they're talking about how he's going to cause an incursion there. The end of the film implies that he caused another incursion. So that movie makes it seem like it was Stephen. Quantumania makes it seem like it was the Kangs, right? Because He Who Remains is like, I saw my variants, all of them playing with time like a game or whatever, endless incursions, I see where it goes, blah, blah, blah. So, different people think it's different people. But it's probably going to end up being Doom. Right? Matt says, hey Josh, hope you and the family are doing well. Do you think Daredevil will make an appearance in either of the upcoming Avengers movies? Yeah, I do. I think Doomsday is more likely because you would imagine Doom and, you know, maybe Doom's cronies come to New York and they're fighting against the Avengers. I think seeing Daredevil there would make perfect sense. He could fit in with Battleworld too. I mean, Charlie Cox is a great actor. Put him in some Game of Thrones looking shit for sure. He could do it. But my guess would be more Doomsday than anything. Yeah. Autobot JL, welcome to the Nerd Vengers, baby. You are a Nerd Venger now. Appreciate you, man. Benjamin Reese says, just bring Steve Rogers back as Nomad. I think you will get that. I think you're going to get that. I think you'll get that. I think you'll also get Hydra Captain America. I truly think you're going to get both. The Exodus says, what if WDW's Pro scoop from July about Viggo Mortensen playing a second Doctor Doom drops tomorrow? That would change things significantly and be huge. It would be. Absolutely. I mean, I was just told straight up that that's not true, you know, but it could be. And that would be wild. I don't know if that would be as big as RDJ Doctor Doom. And it would almost undercut the Doom news more than it would be cool on its own right. But I guess we'll see. That's a possibility. We need to do a watch party for the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, we should, but I just don't know how that works. Like, are they going to come after me if I stream it? Are they going to come after me? I'm not really sure. Bubba Bang says, Josh, how do you think this season of Daredevil will end? What note do they leave off on? How would you end it? So I think there's three main elements that are probably coming together, right? So there's the anti-vigilante thing and the sort of fight for like whether or not vigilantes are good. Then there's like Matt and Kingpin and their nature and coming to terms with their nature. And then there's Muse. Now, I think Muse is like the match that will set off the powder keg. So I think Muse will probably come in and be so goddamn ridiculous and crazy that like Matt is forced to kind of, I mean, I think he could potentially kill Muse, to be honest, which would be wild because that sets Matt off and you're like, dude, what? Like he's kind of a murderer. Technically, they tried that before where he throws the one dude off the roof, but that dude got resurrected. So maybe it would be something like that where, like, the way I see it is like Muse, Kingpin, Daredevil, and the anti-vigilante stuff, that's all going to come to a head. And I know that Bullseye is back in it, and there'll be like a crazy fight at the end. So potentially a payoff for Matt and Bullseye in that conversation with Frank, potentially Matt crossing a line with Muse, and then probably what you set up for season 2 is like, okay, Daredevil's totally back. The vigilante thing and anti-vigilante thing, hardcore. Matt and Kingpin, strictly opponents on opposite sides. So I guess a little bit more of like a status quo return. That's probably how they'll end season 1, in my opinion. Muse confirmed for season 2? Who said that? I've not seen that. I heard some rumors, but I didn't hear it confirmed. Yeah. The Winter Shoulder says, so with several comic events under their belts, will there be an opportunity to introduce Nova and make an MCU version of the Annihilation Saga? I think so. I mean, we know they were building up Nova. They hit the pause button on it for whatever reason, but they're super interested in Nova, and I think they're interested in, other potential other characters that would have been in that show. So yeah, I would say Annihilation Saga, like from what I've heard, Annihilation Saga, definitely something they're thinking about, and Annihilus himself, potentially a big player in the next saga here. Holy crap, we got a $50 holla from Super Vash. Appreciate it, man. says, hey, Josh, you're the best. You were talking earlier about the policies of the current administration. Kennedy, I'm curious, has the Trump administration been better for you economically, or was the Biden administration better? So here's the thing. I'm not really getting into politics. So even though you spent 50, I'm not really going to get into it. But here's what I will say. My philosophy on politics and Washington, D.C. is that plainly I don't trust any of them. And I actually don't really think they have my best interest at heart. That includes Trump. That includes Biden. That includes every president I've ever seen. Every person that even was ever going to be president, I personally do not feel actually has my best interest at heart. The way I view it is, if I can get something out of it, like if something happens, which I think could happen with a left-leaning liberal administration, it could happen with a right-leaning administration. So, like, there are examples of policies on both camps that could actually affect my life positively. If one of those things happen, hell yeah, I'm all about it. But I'm not going to wait around for it. I'm not going to beg for it. And instead, I'm going to make my own life, my own business, my family, everything that I'm doing as self-sufficient as possible. And I chase success because I view success as the real freedom. I don't think every 4 years, I'll just leave it there. So that's my beliefs on politics. And I think that anybody on the right or the left that becomes enamored by the personality and treats it like a sports team, I think that's the trap. I think that is what will fool you. So for me, I'm all about just cashing checks and snapping necks and doing my thing over here. So that's the best explanation that I can give you. Basically, fuck them all. There it is. Any other questions? Any other thoughts, comments, questions, concerns? Anything else? What else is on your mind? You guys excited for these episodes tonight? I'm pretty excited, dude. I'm super excited. Did you sleep good last night? I did. I did sleep well last night, actually. It was cool, man. I went to the gym with my dad. So, man, got a lot of love for my dad, but he's been lifting. So he's 63 years old, and he's been a martial artist his whole life. So he's active, and he's like, I mean, honestly, you still probably wouldn't want to mess with him. But he's never lifted. He never did any weight-bearing exercise, and he's getting older, So I'm so proud of him for embracing the struggle of like lifting heavy things in his older age, because we want to start thinking about, the bone density and basically, guys, between 60 and 70, like a lot of your stuff just falls apart. And so weight-bearing exercise, I'm a big believer in weight-bearing exercise, especially as you get older. So yeah, we did a good workout last night. I was pretty tired when I got home. I was doing some Warhammer stuff, so I was watching some battle reports and actually updating my TTS, Tabletop Simulator, because we're going to play tomorrow night. So yeah, I had a really good night, and then I just drifted off into a lovely sleep and woke up pretty good. Appreciate you. The Winter Shoulder says, hey Josh, so do you think the Mandalorian movie will be the Star Wars version of Brave New World as a bigger budget TV show, basically? That's my fear for it, right? And I think it's on them to sell it as something different. And we'll see, because Celebration's right around the corner, right? That comes out, next month is Star Wars Celebration? So look, I don't think I'm the only person that has that concern about the Mandalorian and Grogu. So Star Wars needs to wow us a little bit. They need to show us a trailer, and they need to show us, why should I get off my ass and go see this thing instead of just wait for it to go to Disney Plus? I think that's really what it is, because ironically, it's a movie that's connected to a Disney Plus show, but that movie will be on Disney Plus. It's just a matter of time. So I'm really interested in how they will sell the need to go to the theater to watch this thing. Because you might say, oh, well, it's Star Wars in the theater. Like, duh, obviously. Well, look at the box office. Look at the article we just talked about. That's not how people view this shit anymore. You have to actually make a value proposition to the consumer to get them to go to the theater. Is that what is happening? I don't know. We'll see. Because if it feels like a season of Mando, you could probably wait for Disney Plus. You know? We'll see. See what happens. Already waiting for Disney Plus on that one? Yeah, but like, that's, you know, maybe you could say like, oh, you're being shitty or whatever. I don't even think you're being shitty. Like, frankly, I don't even know. Currently, if you had to ask me, like, deadass, why would you go to the movie theater to see this movie? The only reason would be I like the theatrical experience. And let's be real. I don't think many of us actually like the theatrical experience. Not what it is now. It used to be dope. You know what the theatrical experience is now? It's going into the theater with a bunch of those same people we just talked about on the survey. And guess what? They're not even going to wait to get out of the movie. They're going to go on their phone right then and there. And they're going to get some of that content. Dead ass. And I've thought too, and I'll say this again, but I have thought that a very important metric that movies and shows need to do today is to pass the phone test. If I'm watching your movie or if I'm watching your show and I feel like getting on my phone, you fucked up. Not me. You fucked up. It's on you to make a piece of entertainment that's so captivating that I don't want to get out and get on my phone. Right? So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Watch Those Wrist Rocket says, am I allowed to protest the Warhammer stream? Of course, protests are fine, you know, but it's happening and there's nothing you can do about it. You should just get down. You should just be like, you know what? Maybe I'll see what this Warhammer stuff's about, man. And then after you watch me play a little bit, you're going to be like, oh, shit, I get it. And then you start rooting for me and be like, okay, he's got to get these rolls here. Like, what's he going to roll? He needs what? Okay, so it's 5 strength, 5 toughness. We're on 4s here. Boom. Trust me. Did I tell you guys that I went into the Warhammer store with Liam over the weekend? And I'm telling you, man, Liam had a great time in there. He was like watching everybody roll their dice and stuff. And he's like, roll dice. He loves rolling dice. Everybody loves rolling dice. Come on. Come on. No, he loved it, man. It's like there's a place where all the paints are at, and he loved like going through the paints and saying all the colors. Yeah. Yeah. What's this, Adam? What'd you put up? What the hell is this? Oh shit, a Daredevil mid-season trailer? Let's check it out. What's this? A Daredevil mid-season trailer? Let's check it out.
Hands in the fucking air!
When I was a kid, I thought God had given me a special destiny. Like a mask and a purpose could save me. My mistake was thinking I was immune to the darkness.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature.
Whoa. Oh, shit.
Tough guy, huh?
Not at all.
Dude. Holy. That's a good trailer, bro. Wow. That was pretty lit. Let's watch it again.
Everyone, hands in the fucking air!
When I was a kid, I thought God had given me a special destiny. Like a mask and a purpose could save me. My mistake was thinking I was immune to the darkness.
That looks like a murder. Oh shit, dude.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature.
Yo, he's gonna kill the shit out of me, I think so.
Tough guy, huh?
So I want to point one thing out. If you're a Bullseye fan, okay, and it looks like he knocked out one of his teeth here, okay, here's the problem. He could kill, like, the way I understand Bullseye as a character, that's a weapon now. And that tooth could kill multiple people. So that's cool. And I wonder what happens next.
Tough guy, huh?
Not at all.
That sequence is going to be lit. Oh, shit.
Embrace your true self.
That is going to be dope, dude. That's a very good trailer. But you know what? The truth is, I thought a lot of the trailers and the marketing for this was really good. It is strange. I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around the viewership numbers of the show. And I know we'll get more official numbers when, like, Nielsen does their thing and whatnot. So we'll take a look at it. And maybe it scales up over time. But, like, damn, like, to me, this is fire, dude. Like, I'm so excited. Yeah, so Bobby says it's boring. So, like, that's what's weird is, like, you know, and I kind of made this point in the video I made yesterday on the main channel. Marvel needs to, like, realize that there are crazier things that they could be doing that would get more attention. And as much as I'm digging this, the fact that it's just a Daredevil show, basically, just doing Daredevil things, it just might not be good enough for people. Which, you know, you could see in the leaked concept art, people got really excited because it was different. Because it was like, oh, this isn't just a Marvel movie. Like, it felt deep and like its own living, breathing world. And it was doing something wildly different than what we had seen Marvel do before. So, I don't know. There could be a lesson here. But I just got to be honest. For me, this is fire. And I'm quite excited to check out the rest. 2 episodes tonight, baby. 2 episodes tonight. Let's see here. Zari says, Mara Jade lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge gives me hope. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, there's definitely no way around it. That is cool. It's cool that they did that. We'll see if it means anything. We shall see if it means anything. All right, guys, I'll hang for like 5-10 more minutes. What else is going on? What else you want to talk about? Any questions, comments, concerns? What were you teasing about the King Thanos yesterday? I just recorded that video today. It'll probably drop tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow night. I can't really say too much more about it. What I'll say is I had a lot of trouble figuring out how King Thanos fit into all of this. There are a lot of rumors, and a lot of them I can make sense of them. A lot of them I'm like, okay, so that means this means that, this all fits together. King Thanos has been a big question mark for me. I'm like, how does he fit in with any of this? Well, I figured it out, and I think it's crazy. So that's what that video is, but it probably won't drop till like tomorrow or something like that. DD as staunch about not killing people as Batman. Yeah, except like it's worse because he's Catholic. So Batman's just insane. Matt believes if he murders, he's going to hell. Like he believes if he crosses that line, he goes to hell. And, you know, Catholics believe in like grace and redemption as well. But ultimately, there are some, I believe they literally call them cardinal sins. There are some pretty big sins that you can't just wash out. And I'm pretty sure murder is one of them. So I think Matt views it's really bad. It's really bad for him. So, how was it meeting each other, you in theory, for the first time this weekend? Oh, it was great, man. You know, there was a little bit of like nervousness before I met him and everything, but like, honestly, he's exactly like you would expect from like the content and everything. And so for me, it was just totally natural, totally fine. And we had a good ass time, man. Like the chemistry was there. Yeah, it was really good. It's really good to meet him. Which has been your favorite Daredevil comics run? I don't know. I mean, I almost want to say the Frank Miller stuff, like, you know, like the actual Born Again and stuff like that. I also like, what was the run with Nuke? And it wasn't Born Again, but it was Frank Miller. But it had like Nuke, and then it ends with that scene and Cap and the president, and he's like, "I'm loyal to the dream, not the flag." I forget what that one was called. That one's really, really cool. I also liked, I can't remember if this was Bendis or the guy after Bendis, but where the owl was like the main villain. That was actually a really cool run, and I love the art there. Yeah, so those are some of my favorites. I like Shadowland. Charles Soule stuff's cool. I haven't read a ton of it. I read some of it for in preparation for this show. Yeah. And then I even like the stuff where absolutely Henry. Happy 3rd birthday, Henry. My son's about to be 3 too, buddy. I think that's so cool. So happy birthday to you. And I'm glad you like Spider-Man. And I hope you get some Spider-Man stuff for your birthday. Happy birthday, Henry. Let's get some happy birthday, Henry love in the chat, man. Give it up for the kids. Zach says, have you heard anything else about the DD set leak? No, unfortunately, I haven't. I can't do nothing. Yeah, I haven't heard anything, brother. Can't confirm or deny. Can't confirm or deny. We lost the past 30 seconds? What the hell happened? What the hell? Everything looks good on my end. Happy birthday, Henry. I froze? Oh, that's not good. That's not very chill. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here in just a little bit. Remember, tonight at 8:30, 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. By the way, I should have sometime tonight. I'm not sure when. I got to look at the edit. But I should have my really crazy theory video about how Dr. Doom will be turning Captain America evil. Okay? So, I've been teasing this theory out for a good bit here. Let me see if I can find the picture to tease you guys out again and show you. I just think it's so cool. Oh, man. All right. Tease it like that. Give me just a second. Okay, here we go. You got to see this, dude. So this is a little tease. This is the thumbnail. I might add some words on here. But this is the thumbnail, and this is another one of those crazy theories I've been cooking up. And I think when you hear this, you're gonna be like, oh shit. That's obviously what he's gonna do. So that should be really cool. Look out for that later today. And then we have the Thanos one. That'll probably drop tomorrow. But I might want to make some space for that big news that's apparently supposed to drop tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see how all that goes. Either way, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Aaliyah gifting 5 memberships. Holy. Thank you so much. The support's out of control. Much love, man. Appreciate y'all so much. I'm going to get on out of here. I'll see you guys tonight, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. Maybe we'll be talking about that crazy news live together on stream. That'll be pretty fun. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Aw, shit. Another happy landing. Another good stream. I can't believe how excited everybody is about Warhammer. I also can't believe I broke off the other arm on my chair. This thing now is missing both arms on it. This is crazy. I don't know what to do. I seriously don't know what to do about that. But anyway, yeah, it's awesome, man. Good times. I'm so excited for Warhammer tomorrow night. Oh man, you guys. Warhammer. Let's go. How did I break it? Probably because I weigh 240 pounds and I lean on it too much. But I'm on a diet. You know, I'm trying to slim up, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, everybody. Much love, man. Y'all are good people, except for you. You know who I'm talking to. Yeah, you. Do better. Everybody else, though, you're real chill. Okay. Much love. And do me a favor, guys, would you? Just do me a little favor. Would you just open up your third eye? Yeah? And wash out that stinky butthole while you're at it, yeah? All right.